Today we'll be looking at the early life and the story of Camille Rousseau Denis in Call of Duty World War II, who is portrayed by Bella Dane. Now here we look to cover the character's history and some events prior to their appearance in Call of Duty. We will briefly go over what happened during the campaign, as we've already covered the full story of World War II on our Stories of War series. Thank you for joining me and welcome to the early life and the story of Camille Rousseau Denis. Camille was born in Allegre, France, in May of 1925. Camille would grow up in a healthy home with two loving parents that encouraged her to go to school and study. She would meet a man and she would fall in love, and they would have a son. However, when the war came knocking, Camille's life was turned upside down, and she would witness horrible things. But when France fell to the Nazis, she and her family would be victims of their grotesque crimes. Camille would witness both her parents' execution and the execution of her husband and young son by the hands of a Nazi general named Heinrich. After these events, Camille decided that she would get revenge for her family and take back France from the Germans. She would join the French resistance and eventually become a leader for them. She would also take the code name of Rousseau as a way to hide her real identity. Rousseau would help the French resistance push against the Germans, all while looking for the man responsible for killing her family. Eventually, Rousseau would team up with the British SOE and meet Arthur Crowley and Vivian Harris, who would be of help to her and the French resistance. After searching for a way to reach Heinrich, Rousseau would finally have a way in. She would receive reports from the SOE that a train carrying B-2 rockets to Germany was passing through, so the team decided to secure this train, which would be carrying papers that they could use to infiltrate the German headquarters in Paris, where Heinrich was staying. With the help of the 1st Infantry Division, the team would be successful in stopping the train, and afterwards they would search it to find the papers that they needed to head to France. Once that was done, they would head to the French hideout as they planned for the liberation of France.
The garrison is run by SS and Polizeiführer Heinrich. And he couldn't find me. He came for my parents. And my husband. And finally, my son. Tonight, everything we've lost, everything we fought for, will mean something. Tonight, we take back our city.
The garrison. Our contact there will supply us with explosives. And when we blow the gates, that'll be your signal to approach.
We're counting on you.
All right, boys. Let's get ready.
Rousseau would infiltrate the German headquarters and she would make her way in search of Karl Fischer, their informant. Eventually she would find him and he would tell her to meet him in the war room, as his superiors were getting suspicious about his betrayal. A few moments later, Rousseau would head to the war room and retrieve the explosives that she was after, and she would quickly leave. After this, Rousseau would head towards General Heinrich's office, and soon she would come face to face with the man that took everything from her.
Watching your son flail as he drowned under my boot gave me the greatest pleasure of all. Rousseau!
This is for my comrades. This is for my son. Is for me. Vive la résistance.
After killing the general, Rousseau would escape and meet with Arthur Crowley, and they would both plant explosives all over the German headquarters. Once these bombs went off, a full-on attack would begin on the Germans by the French resistance, the SOE, and the 1st Infantry Division, and the Allies would be successful in liberating France, while Rousseau got the revenge that she was after for a long time.
We did it. The ghost forces are entering the city.
Looks like we might get that champagne and caviar after all.
Hey Daniels, you still think there's a young gal looking for a handsome GI?
Sorry, buddy. That was just to boost your morale.
Now he tells me.
City of Lights. Finally. Something to celebrate, eh, Crowley?
There's no turning back. France has reclaimed Paris.
I'm not sure what Rousseau did after the war finally ended, but I did find it quite interesting that she was only 19 years old when we met her, as I would have assumed she was maybe in her late 20s or early 30s due to everything that had already happened to her, and due to the fact that she was already the leader of the Marquis by the time that we meet her. Rousseau was a great character that showed up briefly and never overstayed her welcome. In Call of Duty World War II, she was a leader and a great fighter. Thank you for joining me, as this has been the life and the career of Camille Rousseau Denis.